Hello, boys and girls. It's Aunty Mimmi here. Our book today is called What a Mess in Summer. Looks fun, doesn't it? So sit back, get comfortable, and let's begin. A small, fat, scruffy Afghan hound puppy in a heat wave is not a pretty sight. There has not been a breath of wind for days, and the sun had shone down from a clear blue sky. The air was so warm that the puppy's mother said it was like living at the wrong end of a hairdryer. The puppy, who answered to the name of Prince Amar of Kinjan, or would do if anybody called him that, in fact everybody called him What a Mess, was rolling in the grass clippings to check that they were drying well, picking over the compost heap in case something like a lump of cheese had been accidentally thrown away, testing the new paintwork in the house to find out if it was dry yet, so his coat was covered with its usual mess of paint, jam, cheese, twigs and grass. But the hot sun had dried it all out and half cooked it, so that the puppy now looked and smelled like a small, furry dustbin. "Phew," said the man of the house as What a Mess lopped past. "Shall I give him a bath with the garden hose?" asked the girl of the house. "Then I can have a cold shower at the same time." "No," said the man. "There is what they call a drought on. The government says we have got to save water. We mustn't water the garden, or wash the car, or have a bath, or fill the paddling pool." "But I'm so hot," said the little girl. If only a fountain suddenly sprang up. "We're all hot," said the man. What a Mess was certainly hot. His tongue hung out so far that twice it scraped along the ground, and he had to reel it in, and it spit out the gravel it had collected. "There must be a way of getting cool," he said to himself. "You are an intelligent puppy as well as being nobly born, grandson of the famous snow leopard hunter of Afghanistan." He often talked to himself like this. Luckily, nobody but himself heard it. Where is the coolest place of all? Of course, the refrigerator. He opened the door with his nose, swept all the milk bottles, food and pots onto the kitchen floor with a paw and tried to get in. Alas, he was far too fat and the shelves were too close together. He tried to push hard, but his paws kept slipping on the spilt milk, lard and bits of meat on the floor. Eventually he gave up, had a lick of butter and a pork chop, and wandered off out into the garden. It was much hotter in the open. The lawn was the colour of potato crisps, and the air was still. "When the wind blows, it is cool," said the intelligent and noble puppy to himself. "So, if the air will not rush past me, I will rush past the air." With which he broke into a fast gallop and hurtled at unbelievable speed across the garden. The next thing he remembered was recovering consciousness under a tree. He was panting heavily, and the cat next door was fanning him with a cabbage leaf. "You're balmy, running in this heat," said the cat next door. "Cool as a cucumber and neat as a pin. You should be called What an Ass." "It's not fair that you don't get all hot, tired and smelly like I do," panted the puppy. "Cats," said the cat next door, delicately removing a thistle seed which had settled on her fur with a flick of her tongue, "are different." What a Mess raised his head and looked round the garden. Everything was drooping. "There must be somewhere in the world," he said half to himself, where a cool wind is blowing and the air is fresh. Australia, said the cat. Is that something I've got? Asked the puppy anxiously. No, that's hysteria, said the cat. Australia is a country on the other side of the world, exactly opposite us. When we are having our summer, they are enjoying winter. It is cold in Australia now. What a Mess thought. Look, couldn't I dig down to Australia if it is opposite us? I'm very good at digging. If I dug a hole to Australia, their cool air would come up to us. It would rush up the hole, wouldn't it? The cat showed the puppy exactly where to dig, and What a Mess began. It was very hot to begin with, but as soon as he had gone down a few feet, it was cool in the hole, and he could work well. Afghans are natural diggers, and the puppy made fast progress. When he came to the roots, he just sank his teeth in them and wrenched them out of the earth. Then he came upon one which was straighter and harder than all the rest. He bit and pulled and wrenched and twisted until finally it gave way. A great spout of water gushed up into the sky. The cat next door rolled on the ground with delight that her trick had worked. That wasn't a root, she chortled. That was a water main. But who cared? The beautiful ice-cold water sprang high into the air and sprayed out over the garden. The little girl of the house ran backwards and forwards through it, squealing with delight. All the garden animals and insects drank and played in the ponds which formed. Even the man of the house drove his car over it for a free car wash. What a Mess played happily and coolly all afternoon. But, sad to say, the water did not wash away the mess entangled in his coat. If anything, it spread it and matted it into his fur. That night, as the puppy lay fast asleep in his basket, his mother looked at the sorry mess that was her noble puppy. I think, she said softly, so as not to wake him, we should now call you Water Mess. Well, that was a fun book, wasn't it, boys and girls? They were all very hot in that summer sun. So, as always, I want you to look after one another, be kind to one another, and try and have some fun every single day. Until next time, bye-bye.